Okay, so starting with the chapter number 3 of your syllabus, basically this is your chapter number 2 of your Edexcel chemistry syllabus. The first one was states of matter. The second one is elements, compounds, and mixtures, and the third one is basically atomic structure. But usually, when I start teaching the syllabus, I usually start off with atomic structure, then we do states of matters, and then elements, compounds, and mixtures. I don't follow the syllabus sequence, but from now onwards, we'll be following the same sequence. So this chapter is basically elements, compounds, and mixtures. Let's start with the chapter. First of all, you should know the difference between the element, compound, and mixture. What's the basically difference? Now, we were doing a worksheet that day, and you asked me a question that how is this an element, how is this a compound, and how is this a mixture? So basically, element को अगर हम बात करें, now element is a substance made up of atoms that all contain the same number of protons and cannot be split into anything simpler. There are 118 known elements in your periodic table. If you see a periodic table, what are all those? Those are all elements. Normal hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, calcium, magnesium, they all exist as atoms, first of all, and they exist as one atom. When they exist at a single atom, and they are an element. But when we talk about a compound is a pure substance made up of two or more elements chemically combined together. There are unlimited types of compounds, cannot be separated by physical methods of separation. So compound is basically a pure substance made up of two or more elements chemically combined together. And there are unlimited types of compound. Now you can join any element that you want and you can make a compound. An ionic compound would be containing a metal and a non-metal. A covalent compound would be containing two non-metals. A metallic compound would be containing two metals. For example, copper 2 sulfate. Now copper, sulfur, and 8 means oxygen. So we have copper, sulfur, and oxygen in a single compound. Now this single compound contains three kinds of elements. When we talk about calcium carbonate, calcium is a metal, then it has a carbon, and it also has an oxygen. 8 jahan bhi nazar hai na, 8 8 means this contains oxygen. So again, we have three types of elements in a single compound: calcium, carbon, and oxygen. Either kya tha? Copper, sulfur, and oxygen. So different elements join together chemically. Chemically wo kis tarah join karte hain? Your next chapter would be chemical bonding, in which we'll be talking about covalent, ionic, and that bonding. Uske andar you'll be seeing how do they actually chemically combine together. A combination of two or more substances, elements, or compounds that are not chemically joined together can be separated by physical methods of separation. For example, salt and water. Yeah, आपके क्या होते हैं? Mixtures. Mixtures में क्या होते हैं? Either you can have a combination of element, compound, or a compound and compound. अब ये mixture है. Mixture के अंदर elements भी हैं, mixture के अंदर compounds भी हैं. For example, if I talk about air, ठीक है? अब air में क्या है? Air has 78% nitrogen, it has 21% oxygen, it has 0.04% carbon dioxide. Now, if you see, air has nitrogen, air has oxygen as well, air has this carbon dioxide as well. It's a mixture. Salt plus water. Now, salt may contain NaCl, water may contain H2O. Two compounds joined together, वो आपके पास एक मिक्सचर बना देते हैं. अगर मैं सबके एक एग्जांपल लिखूं, एलिमेंट की एक एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं, हाइड्रोजन. ठीक है, हाइड्रोजन इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ एलिमेंट. कंपाउंड, लेट्स से कार्बन एंड ऑक्सीजन जॉइन टुगेदर टू मेक कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. मिक्सचर की एग्जांपल बहुत कॉमन एयर है. दिस इज आल्सो योर अपकमिंग चैप्टर्स व्हिच इज नोन एज एयर एंड वाटर. उसके अंदर वी विल बी टॉकिंग हाउ इज एन एयर अ मिक्सचर एंड हाउ कैन वी सेपरेट दिस मिक्सचर इनटू different elements and compounds. A mixture of elements, a mixture of compounds, and a mixture of elements and compounds. Now, this is a mixture of elements. These are all, first of all, mixtures. This is the first mixture, the second mixture, and the third mixture. This mixture only contains elements. For example, ये calcium होगा, and let's say this is hydrogen. Okay, now this is a mixture containing calcium and hydrogens. Okay. Blue one are the hydrogens, white one are the calcium, but they exist as single atom. They exist as a single atom only. Whereas when you look at a mixture of compounds, compounds exist as a group of elements. And when these group of elements known as compounds join together further, they form a mixture of compounds. This is the first type of compound. This is the second type of compound. A mixture of elements and compounds. अब यहाँ पे compounds भी हैं. The first type of compound, the second type of compound, and we have a third type, but this one is an element. So the first one is a compound, the second one is a compound, the third one is an element because it exists as again a single atom, whereas compound exists as a group of atoms. हमेशा two or more elements would be combined together. Let's say अगर मैं 3 atom compound की बात करूं, this can be a 3 atom compound. 3 atom compounds contains carbon, oxygen and another oxygen. 3 atoms हो गए carbon dioxide के अंदर. Whereas if I talk about NaCl, this is a 2 atom compound containing NaCl and containing sodium and chlorine, but it has to be more than one. It cannot be one. One atom cannot make up a compound. You need 2 or more elements together. Pure substances versus a mixture. What is the difference between a pure substance and a mixture? Well, in everyday language, we use the word pure to describe when something is natural or clean and to which nothing else has been added. In chemistry, a pure substance may consist of a single element or compound which contains no other substances. What is pure water? मैं कहता हूँ this is pure water. Pure water का मतलब क्या होगा भाई? इसके अंदर कुछ भी नहीं है. It would not be having any kind of impurities. Whenever there are some impurities, that thing does not remain. आप कह सकते हैं it would no more be pure because it has now some impurities added into it. So in chemistry, a pure substance may consist of a single element or compound which contains no other substances. If I talk about water, water can only be pure when it only contains H2O. But when I add salt into the water, when I add salt into a water, it is now not pure. Only water present would be pure. When combined with a salt, it is now salt plus water. It is a mixture, and that mixture is now an impure water. For example, a beaker of a sample of pure water contains only H2O molecules and nothing else. मतलब अगर आपको pure water चाहिए, a pure water would only have hydrogen and 2 oxygens that would make up H2O. No other elements, no other compounds, no other mixtures. It would be pure water. If salt were added to the beaker, then a mixture is produced. A mixture consists of 2 or more elements or compounds that are physically mixed together and they are not chemically combined. The chemical properties of the substances in a mixture remain unchanged. Substances in mixtures can be separated by physical means. For example, अगर हम air की बात करें, air is a mixture. Now we cannot say that mixtures are permanent. Mixtures can be separated by using many means, such as they can be separated using fraction distillation. They can be separated using distillation. Okay, but fraction distillation of air that we'll be studying in the upcoming chapters separates air into different elements and compounds. As air, for example, is a mixture of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and some other gases as well, such as carbon dioxide and argon. Carbon dioxide and argon are also some gases that are present in the air in these minute quantities. But this is a mixture. This is a mixture of compounds, different elements that formed up air. The air around you right now is containing a mixture of nitrogen, oxygen, and you are breathing right now the 21% oxygen left in the air. So yes, mixtures can be separated because again, if I give you a summary, this is an atom. अब एक single atom की form में अगर कोई चीज है, that would be known as an element. I would call as a single element, but it can also become a molecule. अगर मैं कहूँ, what is a chlorine atom? A chlorine atom would be written like this. But when I say a chlorine molecule, that can be a Cl2 और वो proper फिर gas होगी. Atoms में तो कोई state नहीं होता. Atom has zero state. Atom exists as zero. लेकिन when we talk about a molecule, molecule क्या है? Chlorine gas. 2 atoms of chlorine join together to form chlorine gas. We also call this thing as diatomic. We studied this in atomic check. हम इसको क्या कहते हैं? We also call it diatomic. Then a molecule and compound join together. एक molecule ले लो, such as ये, this looks like H2O, hydrogen, oxygen and oxygen, combining with a compound, a molecule and compound forming a mixture. Then this is an example of compound. Let's see, सिर्फ H2O की बात हो रही है. H2O is a compound and a mixture would contain groups of molecules, compounds भी होंगे, different other mixtures joined together, maybe some elements as well. and then they make up a complete complex mixture. It's a mix, like mix. So there's a mix of elements, a mix of compounds, a mix of everything. So how can we check if something is pure or impure? Now this is the last thing I'm going to tell. Then we'll be ending the class. उसके बाद हम थोड़ा सा physics कर लेते हैं. How to distinguish purity? Pure substances always melt and boil at specific and sharp temperatures. For example, if I give you a glass of any substance and I'll tell you, yeah, please check for me, is this water pure? How are you going to check? Pure substance melt and boil at specific and sharp temperatures. For example, pure water has a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius and a melting point of 0 degrees Celsius. You're going to go and boil that water. If the water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, yes, then I would say that yes, the water is pure. But if it boils at 110 or 109 or 98, no, that water is not pure. So mixtures have a range of melting and boiling points as they consist of different substances that tend to lower the melting point and they broaden the melting point range. Now, melting and boiling point data can therefore be used to distinguish pure substances from mixture. So always remember, pure substances have fixed melting and boiling points, whereas impure substances always have different melting and boiling points than the pure ones.